Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in. We are driving to the Crow's Nest Pass area, a stunning region nestled in the heart of the Canadian Rockies, which offers some of the most picturesque landscapes and rich historical sites. We will first arrive at Lundbreck Falls to admire its beauty. Next, we head to the Frank Slide and one of the most significant geological events in Canadian history. After that, we arrive in the town of Coleman, where we hike Miner's Path, enjoying stunning views of the surrounding mountains and discovering evidence of an old mine site. Finally, we visit the Alberta Provincial Police Barracks and its connection to alcohol smuggling and murder during the Prohibition era. As we drive south, the majestic Rocky Mountains emerge on the horizon, signaling our first stop, the beautiful Lundbreck Falls. Found within Lundbreck Falls Provincial Recreation Area, the falls are approximately 12 meters high and surrounded by lush greenery. They are easily accessible from Highway 3, making them a convenient stop for travelers exploring the region. The base of the falls and the river downstream are popular spots for fly fishing, mainly for rainbow and cutthroat trout, and despite the crowds, there were a few fishermen that day. We then made our way down from the upper viewing area to get a closer look at the falls. The park also has a campground located close to the falls, which offers a place to stay while exploring the area. The river here has created a small canyon, primarily composed of sedimentary rock, which is typical for this region. It is possible to find fossils in the vicinity, as the surrounding rock formations are part of the Western Canada Sedimentary Basin, which has rich fossil deposits. They mainly contain fossils of marine life such as mollusks, corals, and other organisms that lived in the ancient seas. Near the falls is an old stone bridge known locally as the Lundbreck Bridge. Built in the early 20th century, the bridge spans the Crow's Nest River and, as can be seen, provides picturesque views of the surrounding area. As we walked along the bank to the other side of the bridge, we encountered more fishermen, but I couldn't tell if they were catching anything with these crowds around. We then drove to the Frank Slide, one of the most significant geological events in Canadian history. On April 29, 1903, a massive rock slide occurred here, burying a portion of the town of Frank and claiming the lives of over 70 people. Okay guys, this is the first stop at Crow's Nest Pass, Frank Slide. It's getting pretty late. We've been driving from Edmonton. We're going to check out the interpretive center in a second here. Our hotel is in Coleman, just next door here. And I am definitely ready for a hotel because I've been driving for a while. And here's a secret, Alberta drivers are idiots, so my patience has run out. It's time to get the hotel. So I'm going to find a trail here. I'm just going to walk through here. I think we may have a better view than I got from the top of this Frank Slide. And so far, yeah, I'd have to say that's correct. Because that looks much more open. I'll walk forward here a bit. Gives you an idea just how large this thing was, though. Like all of this rock here, all of this rubble is the slide. And I'm going to come down off this rock. And I'll go around this tree and give you a better idea of the actual slide face itself off the side of the mountain. So there it is. There's the actual... So it came from way over there and slid this far down to this point. The slide was triggered by several factors, including a recent heavy rainfall, geological instability, and coal mining in the area. This combination led to a massive collapse of rock and debris from the mountain located above the town. It is estimated that approximately 30 million cubic meters of rock fell from the eastern face of Turtle Mountain, primarily consisting of limestone and shale. I'll have to check it out when I get home. But I think there's actually still people buried in here. But looking at this, you can see why. It's like, where would you start? I did confirm that after the landslide occurred, search and recovery efforts were initiated, but due to the sheer volume of rock and debris, not all bodies were found. It is estimated that the remains of at least 5 individuals were never recovered, and their exact locations within the slide remain unknown. Given these factors, it is important to recognize that this site serves as both a historical landmark and a memorial to the victims, and should be treated with respect. This shot illustrates the enormous size of some of the rocks from the Frank Slide, showcasing their massive scale and the sheer volume of debris. We then walked through a forested area and were reminded that the surrounding landscape is also popular for hiking and outdoor activities, making it a significant destination for both education and recreation. After that, we made our way up the hill to the Interpretive Center, which offers exhibits that detail the geological processes that led to the slide, as well as the personal stories of those who lived through it. It also plays an important role in preserving the history of this event and promoting awareness of the geological hazards of this area. This map shows that approximately 1/3 of the town was affected by the slide, resulting in the destruction of homes, businesses, and infrastructure. They also had displays that illustrated the tectonics of the area and the methods used to monitor Turtle Mountain's activity on a continual basis. This display shows how the coal mine may have looked at the time of the slide. A miners' union medal belonging to Charlie Johnson, who was one of the lucky ones. On the night of the slide, he was scheduled to work the midnight shift, but traded his shift with another miner. The next day, he took part in rescue efforts. We next traveled to Coleman, a once bustling coal mining town, which is now known for its historic buildings and stunning natural landscapes. BCMI Inns, first time we've ever been here. One night, so it's gonna do. But we're right beside the stairwell, and the road is meters from us.
Not just a road, it's a highway.
Highway. One of the, I don't know, things I don't like about some hotels is they put the sink and the vanity, the mirror outside the toilet area, the shower area. So, great if you're staying by yourself, but when you're with somebody else, kind of a bit inconvenient. I think I'm going to do exactly what Donna's going to do. Take my boots off and lay down for a minute. Apparently we're not sharing a bed today. So this guy is mine. So I can spread out all I want. We had a great view from the back window, but not the front. After we settled in at our accommodations, it was time to explore the area and find a local restaurant to enjoy a meal. So here's one. Not bad Mexican breakfast, it's it. I don't know if that's the building, but apparently this is the building. Oh, yeah, this is the building. Okay. I think the restaurant we were wanting to go to may be closed tonight, so we may be going back to Vito's. Trying to make our way to the Rum Runner. The street down there didn't look too safe, so we're going down a back section here. Which is kind of a nice little residential area. We arrived at the Rum Runner restaurant, a local favorite named after the Prohibition era when smugglers transported alcohol across the U.S. border. As we would soon discover, the town has a rich history from that time. The menu featured a variety of dishes, from burgers to fresh salads, with many ingredients sourced locally. After much consideration, I decided on the cod dish. Beside the Rum Runner is the Black Bird, which I believe is an old church converted into a restaurant and accommodations. Unfortunately, we had no time to explore it further. I had a cod with couscous there, and then they had a side of fries with it. So, really full right now, stuffed with carbs. And feeling tired. It's about a little after 6, I think. And yeah, the day is starting to be felt, I'll tell you that. Just gonna take a quick walk through Coleman here and just see what we can get ourselves into. Just gonna walk up this street, I think. Oh, we're gonna go walk up this street.
We're gonna go this way.
Oh, we're gonna go this way. Oh, okay. Alright, well,
Up and down and around.
sidewalk, let's cross.
Cross?
Cross, damn it. Across the street. So down there and then left down there. Okay. We came upon the Crow's Nest Museum, which had a variety of outdoor displays. From what I can tell, the items shown here are related to the coal mining industry, which played a significant role in the Crow's Nest Pass region. After that, we found some historical buildings and structures that are being preserved, giving an insight into the town's past. This building was home of the Coleman Journal, which, as I understand, has ceased regular print publication since the 1970s. These are coke ovens, which were built in the early 20th century. These beehive-shaped ovens were used to convert coal into coke, a fuel of high carbon content that was essential for steel production. And what's a town without a Roxy Theatre? Or a Welsh flag, for that matter. Waking up to a beautiful morning, we made our way to Miners Path Trailhead. This scenic trail offers stunning views of the surrounding mountains and is a great way to experience the natural beauty of the area. This trailhead also had a piggy bank in the parking lot. Hey guys, we are waking up to a colder morning here. But as soon as you get into the sun, it's warm, so it's typical mountain weather, really. So we're going down a path called Miners Path. And we're just gonna see, we got some time to kill before we go to a museum here in town. So, Donna's dad, if you didn't know, was a miner. So Donna takes a lot of interest in this stuff. Kind of like me in farming, I guess. So we'll see what kind of path we've got. We are the only ones here this morning. It's a Monday morning though, so that probably has something to do with it. But yeah, I'll just turn the camera around here and you can kind of see the start of it. Not sure what the history is, why they call it the Miners Path. I'm sure we'll find out as we walk along the trail here. They've got Wilderness Trail, use at your own risk. I have to admit, I think this is the first in-city path I've ever been on where I'm quite happy to have my bear spray with me. The path was created as a way of getting from downtown Coleman to the McGilvery mine, which operated from 1909 to 1957. From this point, the trail continues for 0.5 kilometers before ascending a hillside staircase, which we would later discover marked the location of the old mine. The main hiking trail now follows Nez Perce Creek for approximately 1.2 kilometers before ending at Rainbow Falls. I was just expecting a simple in-town trail. This has so far been an unbelievably beautiful area. And it just seems to keep getting better here. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what's around the corners here. Coming up to a bridge. Okay, that's another access by the looks of it, because the trail continues down the bank. So we're going this way. Through there. It is said that during the Great Depression of the 1930s, unemployed men would walk this path every day, sometimes for years, in hopes of finding a job. Today, the path honors the miners who worked in the coal mines of the Crowsnest Pass region, a vital part of the local economy and community life in the late 19th century through much of the 20th century. As we continued along the trail, we began to hear Rainbow Falls in the distance, but to get to it, we first had to navigate a gate. Making sure it's properly closed as we walk through, of course. Going back, we decided to explore the area above the hillside stairs, discovering some evidence of the old McGilvery mine.
I'm going to venture out on a limb and say that those were probably attached to that thing. It's probably pulling carts up.
Possibly, eh? Yeah, it's an anchor for something.
Yeah.
Right. So the mine must have been near here then.
Yeah, or part of it at least.
Near this area. Very much forest now. The whole trail is covered with coal, I would say. I'm not sure if it's slag or whatever it is, or waste. But it's everywhere. The whole trail's got that. But it appears the mine might have been where we're standing right now. It's a little more cleared off here. And we're definitely seeing some signs of it around here. Seen this clearing, so I decided to walk through the bush a little bit. But yeah, that trail that we're walking on is starting to become a built-up road. So I'm thinking that the trail or road goes back to where we came from here, which is back in there. We'll just walk this way. So I'm thinking that's probably the access road. This clearing may have been where all the main buildings were. Time will tell. I'll look it up online. Donna went up to the left to see what she could find up here. But yeah, I think this is the end of the trail. I think we found about all this mine we're ever going to see. It was a fun adventure, though. But yeah, I think we'll get back to the trailhead. So yeah, as Donna pointed out to me when she came up to this section. It's definitely a built-up road. So I'm just gonna turn the camera a bit. And yeah, you can really get a good view of it now. All black, completely made out of coal by the looks of it. What they got rid of, or didn't need, I guess is a better way of putting it. But yeah, I think that is the end of the story for this old mine site. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any historical plans showing how the mine site would have looked at the time. However, it was a fun adventure exploring the area and imagining what it must have been like. Still, I must admit, I prefer the current surroundings and enjoy experiencing the natural landscape a lot more. If you keep an eye out for local wildlife, you have a good chance of seeing something interesting. In this case, it was a mule deer. After the deer disappeared into the woods, we made our way to the Alberta Provincial Police Barracks and its place in history.
So the constable comes out, they start talking at the car out front, things escalate, get a little bit heated, shots are fired at the car, and Constable Austin actually falls and dies right here at the corner of the building. It's a little bit more tragic because this was the hospital. There was medical attention here. It wasn't like the doctor was 2 towns over, in the 20s.
Yeah.
There was medical assistance here. His shot was near the heart. He was not going to survive that. So Piccarello and then his employee Florence Lysandra that was in the car too, they peel off and the story unfolds from there.
The barracks is a historical site that reflects the early law enforcement history of the province. Established in the early 20th century, the barracks served as a base for the Alberta Provincial Police, which was responsible for maintaining law and order in the region. This museum largely focuses on the Prohibition period of the 1920s and the consequential shooting of Constable Lawson. The museum gives a very good description of how the Prohibition era got started, as well as the consequences that led from it. As I rounded the corner, I was quite surprised to find a working jail cell.
Oh no, I've been jailed. Let's just slide this over. Ching! どうするんですか? Oh my god, there's even a... Yikes!
I'm just gonna lift it here.
Yeah.
See how heavy it is. Oh my god, yeah, that's gotta be... It feels like about 50 pounds. 40, 50 pounds, I would say. That's not light at all. Oh yeah, thank you for letting me out.
Curiosity kills the cat.
But yeah, that's
I want to see
heavy.
how heavy this thing is.
But yeah, it's gotta be 40 or 50 pounds, that thing.
I'm gonna use my right arm. Ooh, yeah. No, that's a good weight.
The incident that led to the shooting of Constable Lawson was connected to a botched raid and high-speed chase on an illegal liquor operation. After hearing of the wounding of his son during the raid, and assuming he had been killed, Emilio Piccarello and his employee Florence Lysandra came to the barracks that evening. Following an argument, Constable Lawson was shot just outside the barracks. As you walk around, you will also find various displays of the Prohibition era, including this shot of how they tried to smuggle alcohol in.
So anyways, in the other room there's this image of a bunch of hog carcasses with alcohol in them. And it's interesting interesting how like some things never change. Because I was just watched a video recently of this group, I guess, that was trying to smuggle drugs into North America, and then they had all these disguised packages of like they looked like watermelons. It was made with green tape, and you know it looked like watermelons and just a little bit of a weird shape. And apparently, yeah, they were full of drugs. So
Some things never change.
yeah.
Here's another look at their attempts at concealment. Both Piccarello and Losandro were arrested the following day and convicted of Lawson's murder. However, the trial was questionable at best and could not prove who actually shot Lawson. In spite of this, both were sentenced to hang at Fort Saskatchewan Penitentiary in 1923. As we concluded our visit to the barracks, we then went next door to the Crow's Nest Museum. The museum plays an important role in preserving the heritage of Crow's Nest Pass and serves as a valuable resource for both locals and visitors interested in the history of this unique area of Alberta. This display, for instance, shows an organ that would have played in a church. The museum featured a variety of exhibits that I found quite well done. It was interesting looking at all these products from the past. Thank you for joining us as we traveled through Crow's Nest Pass, Alberta, and this remarkable region. Stay tuned for our next adventure, where breathtaking scenery and outdoor activities await. Thanks so much for watching.